Hello, timid Sagittarius. If you have always found it difficult to relate to the somewhat obnoxious, playful, extroverted, stereotypical image of your sign, which, Sagittarius is a fire sign, and it's generally described as a sign that's very open and somewhat nonchalant, focused externally, and is somewhat of an entertainer, but someone who is not very concerned with the consequences of their actions and is ready for an adventure at all times. If you feel like this is not 100% resonating with you, we're going to try and attempt to go beyond this stereotype and find a card that describes you better. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider subscribing to my channel, liking this video, and supporting my work by way of booking a reading with me. You can find the details in the description box below. So, let me give the cards a little bit of a shuffle. And then we're going to draw the card that is potentially going to shed some light on a deeper, more authentic aspect of Sagittarius that will resonate with you more. All right. And the card is the Fool. Wow. This is a beautiful card, beautiful energy. And I think it goes pretty well with Sagittarius, and maybe the contradiction that you're feeling is not as strong or not as meaningful as it would seem at first glance. The Fool is a beginner, and Sagittarius has always been described or characterized as this explorer of new territories. In order to do that, you don't necessarily have to be a boundary breaker. You don't necessarily have to be a daredevil, because Sagittarius is sometimes, that's the stereotypical or generalized image that Sagittarius is ascribed to. That Sagittarius is somewhat of this frat boy character. I'm not sure how else to express what I'm thinking, but like someone who has very little regard to even their own safety or the safety of others, and is a big experimenter, a free spirit. Now, the Fool can be like that sometimes, but there's another aspect to the Fool that I think you will find more resonant with you. And that's on the one hand, it's a boundless sense of optimism and faith in the universe. And if you have that, it's easy to feel like you're unvulnerable or invulnerable, invincible. But that does not necessarily have to lead to destructive behaviors or these audacious behaviors. There's a boldness to your character for sure, but it does not have to come across in obnoxious ways. You can be a reserved and timid explorer of new ideas, someone who is more acquainted with the world of spirit, the world of ideas, rather than actions. It's definitely an important component of your character to be an innovator of sorts, someone who likes to go to places where there are new things to discover, where are unconventional truths to be found. But this can all be an internal journey, and it can be based upon this understanding that the world is inherently a good place to explore. So somewhere deep within you, there's a confidence, a faith, a conviction that those things that interest you, those new untapped territories that you're willing to travel to, they might be outside of the scope of mainstream society. They may be somewhat outside of the lines that people usually color within. But in order to go there, in order to participate in exploring those new territories and new ideas, you don't necessarily have to brag about them. You don't necessarily have to outwardly embody this archetype of the archer. You could do this in very abstract and very intellectual ways. You don't necessarily have to have this outgoing social personality and this risk-taking personality in the more physical sense. So you don't have to be into extreme sports in order to be a true Sagittarius. But what really sets you apart and what sort of defines your character is this curiosity about the world that has lots of wonderful things to offer, lots of mysteries, lots of unknowns that can be known, that can be discovered. So, for the archer, for Sagittarius, it is important to have those big, distant future ideals that you can shoot your arrows at. But that does not have to come with a personality that is necessarily so extra or so outside of the norm. So basically what I'm trying to say, it's not in a personality, it's in what you do and what interests you that really makes you a true Sagittarius. So I hope that you found this reading interesting or useful. If you did, consider subscribing, liking this video, and I hope to see you in another reading. Bye-bye.